Part 67. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 661. When Xiaoping'an came down from the mountain, it was completely dark. Yan Qi personally sent Xiaoping'an down. The name Yan Qi always reminds Xiaoping'an of that guy Yan Duo. That guy Yan Duo had an alias named Yan Zioqi before. He didn't expect that there was actually a person named Yan Qi here. Xiaoping'an wanted to return to cave number 77, but unexpectedly, Yan Qi took him in another direction. Master Mei, my master has ordered that from now on, Master Mei can stay in the guest cave of Iron Sword Peak and no longer needs to stay in the ordinary cave. Xiaoping'an smiled and did not refuse, but said calmly, Senior Taijian is too polite. Master Mei, come with me. I will take you to the new cave. While talking, the two walked through a plum blossom forest on a mountain, and Yan Qi took Xiaoping'an to the entrance of a cave. This new cave is much more grand than the previous cave number 77. In front of the cave is the plum blossom forest, surrounded by hot springs, shrouded in mist, and beautiful scenery. In the plum blossom ridge, there is a 7-story attic and a pavilion, and the gate of the cave also look more luxurious. On the bronze gate, there is a plaque with the word Yuhang on it. At the door of the cave, there are 2 vivid bronze lions. The bronze lion was made using the method of a mechanical puppet and was guarding the house at the entrance of the cave. Compared with the previous cave, this place is like a presidential suite. Mr. Mei, the plum groves and pavilions outside belong to the Yuhang cave. If you want to receive guests, Mr. Mei can use it at will. This is the key to the cave. Yan Qi spoke and turned his head again. He handed the key to Xiaoping'an. Xiaoping'an took the key to Yuhang cave and then returned the previous key. By the way, I bought some world beads in the secret street before, and the address I left for delivering the message was cave number 77 in Iron Sword Peak. Yan Qi smiled, Don't worry, Mr. Mei, I will explain it. If there is any news, I will have people send the news directly to Yuhang cave. In this cave, Mr. Mei can stay as long as he wants. After explaining, Yan Qi left. Xiaoping'an took the key and reopened the door of Yuhang cave, and the luxury inside the cave came to his face. Behind the door of the cave is a piece of jade. Behind the jade, the entire cave is almost 10 times larger than the previous cave number 77. The cave is fully equipped with all kinds of facilities and is divided into 2 floors. There is also a huge cave in the cave. The hot spring water swimming pool is full of breath, and you can swim and soak in the hot springs in the cave. In the cave, there are also some rare flowers and plants planted, so that the entire cave is in a light and fragrant and comfortable atmosphere at any time. In the living room of the cave, there are 2 huge mirror-shaped magical instruments. The mirror-shaped magical instruments are inlaid on the continuous wall of the living room. Through the bronze mirrors of the magical instruments, people can see real-time information in the living room of the cave. Seeing the scenery outside Iron Sword Peak and in the sky is very novel. At the same time, it was also in this living room that Xiaoping'an discovered that the hundreds of thousands of gold coins he had paid for accommodation in Iron Sword Peak had been fully refunded and placed on the floor of the living room, shining with golden light and neatly marked. Qi, a gold coin is not much. This was undoubtedly what Old Man Ironsword meant. Old Man Ironsword had refunded all the money he had paid at Iron Sword Peak, and had given him a new cave. Naturally, this new cave would not charge money. Looking at the gold coins, Xiaoping'an smiled and directly collected the gold coins without any politeness. It seems that it is not a fluke that the Old Man Ironsword can gain a foothold in Longjiao City and achieve such a great reputation. In addition to being very powerful and untouchable by ordinary people, he also seems to be a very good person. I will give myself a courtesy today. Selling personal favors also has a relationship with the son of God of the Mad God lineage. How can this relationship be compared to the hundreds of thousands of gold coins in front of me? This is the celebrity treatment of the Son of God. Xiaopinggan smiled. Seeing that the god of fortune boy had walked around the cave twice and found no problems, he took out the formation disc and summoned Xialefu to guard the cave, and walked towards the training room. It seems certain that DeLong, one of the 10 sons of God, will come to Longjiao City to compete with him. The De family will kill chickens to scare monkeys and cut off their own path of cultivation. No matter how arrogant Xiaopinggan is, he still feels tremendous pressure. You can't reach 1,000 miles without taking small steps. Now that you have the boundary pearl in front of you to improve your strength, Xiaopinggan naturally integrates the boundary pearl first and then talk about it. Just after returning from the secret street, Xiaopinggan couldn't hold it back for a long time. After sitting cross-legged on the warm jade bed in the training room, Xiaopinggan took out the 4 world beads he had harvested today. The 4 boundary beads that flashed with different lusters, Big Mac, transporting earth as food and Wangwei, were all placed in front of Xiaopinggan. Xiaopinggan first picked up the divine power world bead that works up and down, and dropped a drop of blood. In the blink of an eye, Xiaopinggan was wrapped in a cocoon of light. The light cocoon lasted for less than 5 minutes before dissipating, and Xiaopinggan merged smoothly. There are many allusions in history about the principle of superiority and inferiority. Mencia said in Tenguan Gongjiang Zheshang that if there are good people above, there must be bad ones below. Bao are all recorded. As for the deeds, there are corresponding stories about Qi Huangong and Qi Jinggong Zhoujun. The story on this boundary pearl is that Qi Huangong likes to wear purple, which caused the purple clothing material in Qi to skyrocket, and Guanzhong admonished. According to the previous story, Xiaopinggan acted as Guanzhong again in Jizu, asking Qi Huangong to follow the example and put an end to the extravagant trend of Qi state's habit of obeying the purple. This boundary bead, which has both positive and negative effects, has increased the upper limit of Xiaopinggan's secret mandala's divine power by 20 points, to 9,392 points. The second world bead that Xiaopinggan fused is Big Mac. This giant summoning world bead is the same as the Wenzhong world bead that Xiaopinggan fused before. It is also very simple to fuse. There is a wearer in the world bead. As long as Xiaopinggan can say the giant's name, that is, he can say the 3 words Ju Wu Ba, the world pearl will be successfully fused. In less than 3 minutes after fusing this world bead, the upper limit of Xiaopinggan's secret mandala's divine power was increased by 30 points again, reaching 9,422 points. At the same time, the giant summoned by Xiaopinggan became a 3rd-level giant. Transporting earth for food tells the story of Zhuti, a famous general in the Eastern Jin dynasty. This story is also very simple. Zhuti transported soil to be used as food to boost the morale of his army, and at the same time deceived General Tao Bao of the later Zhao dynasty, and finally turned the tide of the war and regained his territory. It only took Xiaopinggan 20 minutes to fuse this divine power world bead. This divine power world bead increased the upper limit of Xiaopinggan's secret mandala to 9,447 points. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 662. In 1027 at Tokyo Medical Hospital, the capital of the Song dynasty. When Xiaopinggan and a group of craftsmen carried a large wooden box to the classroom of the medical officer's hospital, and asked the craftsman to open the wooden box, untie the ropes filled in the wooden box, and completely remove the cotton and linen stuff, all the students from the medical academy gathered around him. Bronze man, bronze man. Some students shouted excitedly, Mr. S. Bronze man is ready. Yes, there is a bronze man in the wooden box, an exquisite bronze man. The height of the bronze man is about the same as that of a normal man, about 1.75 meters. The whole body of the bronze man, including the head, face, shoulders, back, the neck, yin, armpit, thigh, and side are covered with the 2 main meridians of Ren and Du and the 12 main meridians of the 3 yin and 3 yang of the human body's hands and feet, plus 354 acupoints all over the body. All acupoints and meridians are made of pure gold. The text indicates the name, and at the same time, a hole the size of a grain of rice is left on all the acupuncture points. All the students from the medical academy had gathered around, marveling at the life-size bronze figure. Such an exquisite acupuncture bronze figure is the only one in all dynasties. Xiaopinggan looked at the exquisite bronze figure and sighed in his heart. This time he played the role of Wang Wei in the world bead, but he worked hard to create a pair of national treasures for China. The acupuncture bronze figure in front of him, since after Song Renzong, it has been regarded as a national treasure by all dynasties, and it is rare for ordinary people to see it. The meridian points on this acupuncture bronze figure are proof that Chinese civilization leads the world. The bronze figure in front of me is the first high-precision medical acupuncture model of human body meridians and acupuncture points in Chinese history and in the nearly 5,000 years of human civilization. At that time, the Song Dynasty Medical Academy relied on this bronze figure to firmly sit on the throne of the highest medical school in mankind, and no one could question it. Finally, some students reacted. They looked away in amazement from the bronze figure, turned to Xiaopinggan, bowed to the ground, and said gratefully, "I didn't expect sir to actually make this acupuncture bronze figure. Thank you for your hard work, sir." Other students from the medical college also responded, saluting Xiaopinggan one by one, "Thank you for your hard work, sir." In the blink of an eye, the entire Song Medical College was filled with students saluting Xiaopinggan. "My contribution is insignificant, and it all depends on His Majesty's wisdom. It took several months to finally make this acupuncture bronze figure," Xiaopinggan said in a deep voice. "Sir, how many bronze figures were made of this?" another student asked. "2 of these bronze figures were cast, and another one has been sent to the palace. His Majesty saw it and liked it very much. This one will be kept in the hospital for everyone to study acupuncture," Xiaopinggan said. "How to use this bronze figure and how to study acupuncture, sir, please show me." Xiaopinggan smiled slightly, came to the bronze man, stretched out his hand on the bronze man's chest, and a piece of the bronze man's chest and torso was removed. All the students in the medical academy looked at it, and they all let out a sound of exclamation. I saw that inside the body of the bronze man with a piece removed, the internal organs were clearly visible. The entire body of the bronze man was basically the same as that of a human being, with all the organs present. At the same time, there was a layer of hollow space inside the bronze man. "Teacher, why is there a hollow inside this bronze figure?" a student asked immediately. "Yeah, why do we deliberately leave a hole the size of a pinhole on these acupuncture points? Everyone will know in a moment." Xiaopinggan smiled slightly, then reinstalled the chest module on the bronze man's body, and then ordered the students from the medical academy to burn a pot of yellow wax. Various decoctions can be prepared at any time in the hospital, and there is also a lot of yellow wax, as well as various medicinal materials and supplies. In a short time, the students from the medical college came to burn the yellow wax. Xiaopinggan asked the students to smear yellow wax all over the bronze figure. In a moment, the text on the meridians and acupuncture points and the holes on the copper man covered with yellow wax were all invisible. There was only a layer of yellow wax similar to skin on the whole body of the copper man. "Bring me the mercury from the hospital." Xiaopinggan had people bring mercury, which amounted to hundreds of kilograms. Then he stepped on a stool and poured all the mercury into the bronze man's body from the opening on the bronze man's head. "Huang Yishang." Xiaopinggan called a student's name. "Here." A student from the hospital walked out immediately. Xiaopinggan pulled out a silver needle and handed it to the student who stood up. "Now you are a doctor in the medical center. You will administer the acupuncture and use acupuncture to treat people's illnesses." "Yes." The student looked quite nervous. Xiaopinggan pointed at the bronze figure and said to the student who stood up, "This man works at the dock and comes to the medical center for treatment. He says he has a sore back and wants you to give an injection." Where should I give it? The teacher taught us to please seek help from the middle point of the lower back. I think, if you want to treat low back problems, you can use acupuncture at the Xuanhuan point. The student said in a low voice. Okay, the answer is correct, let's give the injection. The student thought for a while, then squatted down, wiped the sweat from his forehead, took a silver needle and pricked the back of the bronze man's knee. The silver needle pierced the yellow wax on the surface of the bronze figure, but after touching the copper texture inside, it could not penetrate. The student inserted another needle, but the silver needle still only pierced the yellow wax, and then touched the bronze man's body and could no longer penetrate. Where is the Xuanhuan point? Xiaopingna asked. The student named Huang Yu hesitated. I remember that the Xuanhuan point is on the back of the knee joint. Tanfei, go up and try. Xiaopinggan pointed to a smiling student and said. Yes. The student named Tanfei squatted down in front of the bronze man, took the silver needle, reached out and touched the socket on the back of the bronze man's knee joint, and said, Sir, teach us. Xuanhuan point. It is at the midpoint of the horizontal stripes in the posterior fossa of the knee joint. The secret of acupuncture at the Xuanhuan point is to confirm where the horizontal stripes are in the posterior fossa of the knee joint and align them left and right. As he spoke, the student named Tanfei a burst of stabs. This time, after the silver needle penetrated the yellow wax on the surface of the bronze figure, the silver needle suddenly penetrated an inch deep into the dimple on the back of the knee joint. When the silver needle was pulled out, a drop of mercury flowed out from between the needle holes of the yellow wax. The students around them suddenly understood. It turned out that the pores on the acupuncture points of the bronze man and the mercury injected into the bronze man were used in this way. Only by finding the correct acupuncture point and inserting the needle, the silver needle must be impartial. Only then can the mercury in the bronze man's body flow out through the pores at the acupuncture points. Placing this bronze figure here is equivalent to using a real person to study it for everyone. All of a sudden, all the students cheered and took out the silver needles one by one, eager to try it right away. Sir, let me come. Sir, I'm coming, I'm coming. I have memorized Sir's appointment acupuncture illustration by heart, and I can give the acupuncture. Xiaopinggan smiled and asked the students to be calm. He set the questions and the students who answered correctly would find acupuncture points for acupuncture. This person comes here for treatment. He has tinnitus, dry eyes, and shortness of breath. Which acupuncture point should be used? When Xiaopinggan asked, a student immediately stood up and answered, tinnitus and dry eyes are symptoms of kidney yin deficiency, and shortness of breath are symptoms of lung yin weakness. Based on the symptoms of this disease, the first acupuncture list is the missing points. Why? Xiaopinggan then asked. The acupuncture points of the Likai point are at the intersection of the three meridians of the lung meridian, the large intestine meridian and the Ren meridian. One point converges the three meridians. The teacher said that the Ren meridian is the sea of yang meridians, so acupuncture of the Likai points can simultaneously nourish the lungs and kidneys. That's right, let's give it a shot. The student came to the bronze man with a silver needle. He first measured the length of the index fingers of the bronze man's hands, then used that length to find a point where the tiger's mouth of the bronze man crosses and extends close to the back of the hand, and then pricked 2 needles in each. 2 silver needles were inserted into the bronze man's body. When the 2 needles were pulled out, mercury dripped out from under the yellow wax. Xiaopinggan nodded secretly, and the students next to him cheered. The student who received the injection also breathed a sigh of relief, with a smile on his face. The acupuncture point was found correctly. This person comes to the medical clinic feeling restless and occasionally suffering from heartache. Which acupuncture point should be used? Xiaopinggan continued to ask. The Naiguan point should be acupuncture. The Naiguan point is a large point on the pericardial meridian. My husband taught us that Naiguan point is the first choice for treating heart diseases. Another student immediately replied. Okay, Let's give the injection. The student took the silver needle and touched the bronze man's wrist for a while before inserting the needle. However, the needle only pierced the yellow wax and did not penetrate into the acupuncture points. No mercury flowed out. Before Xiaopingyan could speak, a student immediately added, "The Naiguan point is between the two meridians 2 inches above the first horizontal crease of the wrist. Only by finding the first horizontal crease of the wrist can we accurately confirm the location of the Naiguan point. Go and try." Xiaopingyan nodded. The student who opened the mouth took the silver needle and walked up to the bronze man. He carefully confirmed the position of the horizontal stripes on the bronze man's wrist and then checked the distance. The first needle did not go in. The second needle slightly adjusted its direction. The place where the first needle was inserted was a little farther than the size of a grain of rice. The second needle penetrated into the bronze man's body at once, and the mercury flowed out. Xiaopingyan asked the students from the medical college to try the acupuncture one by one. With this bronze man as a teaching aid, all the students burst out with great enthusiasm. They all enjoyed it and learned a lot by finding acupuncture points and meridians on the bronze man. Looking at the scene in front of him, and thinking that some Chinese people in later generations actually doubted the usefulness of Chinese medicine, Xiaopingyan secretly shook his head. Chinese traditional medicine is not too backward, but too advanced, so it is difficult for ordinary people to understand it. Xiaopingyan recalled that when he played BNK, Chang Sang-jun, who taught BNK medical skills, was actually an immortal. According to logic, Chinese medicine is most likely the crystallization of civilization left over from a higher civilization system, which happened to be inherited by China. In a daze, the world of Jizu in front of him suddenly shattered. The effect of the divine power washing and marrow cleansing surged forward, and Xiaopingyan's upper limit of divine power increased by 99 points, reaching 9,546 points. At the same time, this world bead brought Xiaopingyan a powerful secret method Vajra body that stunned Xiaopingyan. With the blessing of this secret method, the body can be like a diamond. Even if a sword is applied to the body, it will not be damaged at all. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 663. Master, yeah, your method really works. A lot of abandoned children have been adopted in the past few days. The people who adopted these abandoned children each took the legal documents written by the adults and the government's commitment. They no longer have any worries. They don't worry about adoption. This move by your majesty is of great merit. Now more than 2,900 copies of those documents have been issued, and more than 2,900 abandoned children have been adopted and can survive. An official from the Yamen stood respectfully next to Xiaopingyan, reporting to Xiaopingyan the status of the documents Xiaopingyan had previously issued. Xiaopingyan stood on the edge of the river embankment, looking at the riverside where the flood had been raging a month ago and was still in a mess. He turned around and asked, "More than 2,900 documents have been issued, which means there are still more than 900 abandoned children without children if people claim it. How long can the food in the everlasting warehouse in the city last?" "Don't worry, sir. Once those who have received the abandoned children return to their hometowns and take out the documents issued by you, everyone will know about your good governance. I estimate that the remaining 900 abandoned children will not take many days. They will be collected by others, and everyone can survive. The food in Changping's warehouse, even if there are 3,000 or 4,000 more people to help, it can still last for more than half a year, until the autumn harvest." Xiaopingyan took a long breath and nodded, "That's good. Those who adopt abandoned children must be from decent families. We cannot be careless about this. We cannot let those abandoned children fall into the pit of fire again in the future and fall into the hands of evil people. Well, as your lordship has told you before, for those families who adopt abandoned children, we all follow your lordship's instructions and send agents to the villages to visit and understand the situation. Only good families can adopt, and a family can only adopt one, unless those abandoned children are adopted. The children are siblings and can be adopted together. This world bead is the 9th world bead that Xiaopingan has newly integrated in the past 20 days, and it is also the last one before he fights DeLong. In the past 20 days since the last time he fused Wang Wei's only world bead, Xiaopingan bought 9 world beads in Longjiao City through various channels, secret streets, and auction houses. 6 of the world beads are divine power world beads, and the other 3 are magic world beads. This Yemen's world bead is also one of the magic world beads. The protagonist of the world pearl in front of him is named Yemen, and his current identity is the Jiangdong Comfort Ambassador of the Southern Song Dynasty. Xiaopingan has been in this world bead for more than a month. As soon as he entered the world bead, he encountered a flood in the upper reaches of Jingzi. A large number of dead people floated across the entire river every day. Some of those dead people died of starvation. Some were drowned, and the misery was hard to look at. Xiaopingan's mission when he came was to rescue the victims, but there was a big problem after the flood, that is, throughout Jiangdong, many children were abandoned and displaced in the flood. Some of those children had parents who died in the flood. Some were abandoned by their families when they encountered famines. After a flood, there were 3,000 to 4,000 children who became orphans and abandoned children under Xiaopingan's jurisdiction. According to the past practice, these children became orphans or abandoned because they had no parents around, and their status was the same as refugees and beggars. They could not even enjoy the relief provided by the local government in Changpingkang, because the relief recipients of Changpingkang in various places were all just the local people. In this case, after the great disasters in previous years, because the government was too lazy to take care of these children, most of these children would starve to death. A few who were lucky would also become beggars and homeless and miserable for the rest of their lives. The reason for this situation is not because the people are cold-blooded and don't want to take care of these children, but because those people who want to take care of them are worried that after they adopt these abandoned children, when the children grow up, the parents of these children will take them back. Isn't this just raising a child for someone else, and you might end up in a lawsuit, so no one dares to adopt it? Coupled with the fact that the previous officials were lazy, indifferent, they did not care much about the lives of these abandoned children after the famine, so they allowed this situation to continue year after year. But when Yemen governed Jiangdong, one of the virtues he left behind was to find a way to survive for these orphans after the famine. This way of survival was found by Yemen after carefully reading through almost all the legal provisions of the Song dynasty, because among the legal provisions of the Song dynasty, there was such a provision that parents were not allowed to claim children who were abandoned due to famine. Therefore, Yemen prepared thousands of pieces of blank documents, wrote this law of the Song dynasty on the document, stamped it with the official seal, and asked families who were willing to adopt children to take away such an official document. And at the same time, the child can also receive government relief, eliminating the trouble of the child's parents coming to ask for help in the future. Just such a move immediately dispelled the worries of ordinary families who wanted to claim their children. Almost all the abandoned children were adopted and survived, and the tragedy after the famine was immediately reduced to a minimum. The Song dynasty has already had laws and regulations to deal with the livelihood of these children who were abandoned and orphaned after the famine. However, the officials were lazy and cold-blooded. They were not familiar with the laws of the country and had no regard for those children who had tragic life experiences and became abandoned and orphaned. Turning a blind eye is why the tragedy of abandoned children starving to death and becoming beggars continues to happen again and again. After arriving at the temporarily built orphanage, seeing the timid children in the entire orphanage looking at him with gratitude and fear, Xiaopingan felt an unprecedented sense and emotion surge in his heart. If those officials had paid a little more attention, it would not be Yemen's turn to find a way out for these children in the end. The officials are careless and corrupt, and they are all obsessed with life and money. All their thoughts are on getting promoted and getting rich, and they will not really care about the people at the bottom of life and death. After every famine, there are countless such children. Those lazy and corrupt officials can just watch these children starve to death or become beggars without bothering to think of a way for these children, even for simple things like reading the court laws. No one does it. Confucius said that harsh government is fiercer than a tiger. Those lazy and corrupt officials who create harsh government, are cold-blooded, greedy but stupid and incompetent, cannot defend the enemy externally and cannot bring peace to the people internally. They are the real source of disaster and cancer for this country and nation. Just 5 days later, under the auspices of Xiaopinggan, all the abandoned children and orphans in the orphan camp in Jiangdong were adopted. No more orphans were starved to death or became beggars. After the last abandoned child was taken away, when he found a new family, Jiju's world was shattered and the integration was completed. After the aftertaste of the divine power empowerment disappeared, Xiaopinggan slowly opened his eyes. At this time, the upper limit of the secret mandala's divine power has become 9,728 points. Compared with a month ago, his gains in Longjiao City this month have been much greater. A total of more than 10 new world beads have been integrated. As for the cost, the little money, hundreds of thousands of gold coins, became an inconsequential matter. The rent that old man Taijian paid him was more than enough. Interesting, the magic spells provided in the world bead are indeed all kinds of strange. This world bead of Yemen actually provides such a magic spell that can make children obedient. If a summoner who knows this kind of magic can kidnap child, no one can stop you, you will be sure to coax. When Xiaopinggan opened his eyes, he thought of Fu Shengboy, shook his head, stood up, moved his body in the room, began to form mudra, and slowly boxed. After punching for a long time, when his body started to sweat, Xiaopinggan after stopping, he didn't do anything. He took off his clothes and soaked in a hot spring in the cave. After a good sleep, he changed his clothes. When he woke up the next day, he felt that his physical condition had reached a peak. He looked at the time, and after washing and tidying up, he put away Xiaolefu and the formation disc, and walked out of the cave. Yan Qi stood outside the cave door, respectfully waiting for Xiaopinggan to come out. Yan Qi actually didn't wait here for too long, because he knew that Xiaopinggan, who was in seclusion, was about to come out at this time today. Mr. Mei, you have come out. The master has ordered that if Mr. Mei needs to ride on a bicycle to increase his momentum, we can prepare it for Mr. Mei. Thank you, Senior Taijian. There is no need to ride on the bicycle frame. I can just go there by myself, Xiaopinggan said with a smile and walked down the mountain. Today is the day when he competes with De Long, the son of the De family. Although old man Taijian talks about kindness, Xiaopinggan cannot be ignorant and deliberately involves Taijian Feng and old man Taijian. Sure enough, after hearing what Xiaopinggan said, Yan Qi looked at Xiaopinggan's back as he left gracefully, with a hint of respect in his eyes. The weather outside today has completely cleared up, and Longjiao City is still completely white. This kind of weather is just perfect for making a name for yourself. Mei Zheng, the son of the descendant of the mad god, has come out. Mei Zheng, it's Mei Zheng, he's out. The De family's divine son De Long arrived at Qinjun Mountain a week ago. There's something good to watch today. As soon as Xiaopinggan left Taijian Feng, the mountain pass outside Taijian Feng was already crowded with people, thousands of them. These summoners knew that Xiaopinggan lived in Taijian Feng, but they were all in Taijian Feng, waiting for him outside the exit. As soon as Xiaopinggan came out, he caused a sensation. Countless eyes looked at Xiaopinggan. To be honest, at this moment, Xiaopinghan really felt like an emperor superstar walking out of the airport passage and meeting fans who were picking him up. Please wait here. Xiaopinghan was neither arrogant nor impatient, and didn't say much. He just bowed his hands to the summoners waiting outside Iron Sword Peak, and then rose into the air towards Qinjun Mountain. Flying in the same direction, the summoners waiting for him also flew up at the same time. All of a sudden, the sky was filled with dense figures of summoners, looking quite imposing. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 664. On the way to Qinjun Mountain, Xiaopinghan could clearly feel the sensation caused by today's duel. The number of summoners that can be seen in the sky along the way is at least twice as many as the last time the Mad God appeared in Qinjun Mountain. Wherever Xiaopinghan goes, everyone is really watching. That is the son of God who is a descendant of the Mad God. His name is Mei Zheng. I heard that Mei Zheng has obtained the Mad God's secret method of combining magic and martial arts. The Son of God can also evolve some of the mysteries of Shinto that combine magic and martial arts. Xiaopinghan heard countless such astonishments and words while flying in the air. The last time the Mad God appeared in Qinjun Mountain to evolve the divine way, it only lasted a few days. Even if many summoners from the god-killing insect realm heard about such a thing and wanted to rush over, they would not be able to make it in time, so the people who were watching at that time, mainly the summoners from Longjiao City, there are not too many summoners from other places. But this time it was different. The duel between him and the Di family's son had been brewing for a month. During this month, many people who knew about the news had arrived. This duel, just the gimmick of the duel between the descendants of the Mad God and the top 10 godsons of the God family, is already sensational enough to attract many people to watch the fun, not to mention the duel between the sons of gods. It may reveal the powerful techniques of combining magic and martial arts, and the secrets of combining magic and martial arts. Not to mention ordinary summoners, it will also be very powerful to top demigods like the Iron Sword Old Man and the Master of the Black Dragon section. It's attractive. I want to have a glimpse of its secrets, and I hope to gain some insights. From a distance, Xiaopinghan could see that the number of lightning boats in the sky near Qinjun Mountain had almost doubled compared to a month ago. This situation was also expected by Xiaopinghan. For Xiaopinghan, this duel also has multiple meanings for him. First of all, once this duel comes, he can confirm his current identity and the relationship between the Mad God, and let the people's imaginations go wild. And no one would associate the Son of God, the descendant of the Mad God, with Xiaopinghan, the Skycrosser, because the basic common sense in the Yuan-Kai world is that there cannot be a Son of God among the Skycrossers. This is a cunning strategy for Xiaopinghan. A protective sign. The second significance of this duel to Xiaopinghan is that Xiaopinghan plans to use this duel to completely put the image of Mei Zheng into the eyes of the masters and strong men in the Yuan-Kai world. He wants to make the image of Mei Zheng famous and become a significant existence. Only in this way can he clear the way for future cultivation and have more opportunities to obtain more cultivation resources, such as rarer world beads, such as the divine spring of the 8 Yang realm. As Xiaopinghan advanced to the Seven Suns realm, he has increasingly felt that this world has an invisible ceiling for ordinary summoners. All resources in the entire summoners world, and even the entire human world, are at a disadvantage. If you want to enter a higher resource allocation circle based on the pyramid structure, you must break the ceiling. If he doesn't break it, it's still the same as before. If he wants to soak in the divine spring of the 7 Yang realm, he needs to sign a contract with the 10,000 God sect and go to the 10,000 God star to work hard. Then when he advances to the 8 Yang realm and the 9 Yang realm, the divine spring and the world pearl will have to be how come. As for the last reason why Xiaopinghan wanted to participate in this duel, he wanted to use this duel to test his state of mind and refine his heart in life and death. Ever since he was wanted by the overlord demon god, Xiaopinghan has been cautious in everything and kept his name anonymous. Although he can avoid the pursuit and danger of the overlord demon god, Over time, once the behavior becomes a habit, and once the habit becomes a character, if this avoidance becomes instinct, leaving his inner demons behind, Xiaoping'an was afraid that his path to becoming a god would be cut off. Then he would become a joke when he came to the world of Yuan Kaiu, and everything he did would be meaningless. Or what true Lord Styx said, how can any coward be able to become a god? Mei Zheng, the son of the descendant of the mad god, is here. Xiaoping'an flew near the main peak of Qinjun Mountain, because this was a battlefield and more people gathered. With the arrival of Xiaoping'an, the onlookers in the sky all made way. Around the main peak of Qinjun Mountain, the main peak is like a dot. Everything within a radius of 10 miles of the dot is cleared. All people who come to watch the battle are 10 miles away from the main peak. On the main peak, looking from a distance, Xiaoping'an has seen a figure wearing a white shirt, standing proudly above the main peak, with his clothes looking like a haze. His aura is integrated with the surrounding peaks, as if he is integrated into the mountains, rivers, land, and sky. Xiaoping'an looking at it from a distance, I felt a chill in my heart. It was the godson of the Di family, Di Long. Those members of the divine family and the masters of the 9 Yang realm and the 8 Yang realm are in the inner circle, and the others are in the outer circle. In the sky 10 miles away from the main peak of Qinjun Mountain, it is like a huge arena. The stands, layer upon layer, were already packed with people. Xiaoping'an saw many familiar faces, including Xu Longzi, Yang Qingchen, Feng Qinmo, the brothers and sisters of the Dao family, the sons of God, and the elders of these divine descendant families. In addition, many unfamiliar faces and divine family members also arrived. Xiaoping'an also saw Old Man Ironsword and the master of the Black Dragon clan. Both of them were in the inner circle. Hua Xian and her junior sister Qin were with the master of the Black Dragon clan. The master of the Black Dragon clan had a superb temperament and attracted many disciples from the divine family around him. They all looked towards her. There was some looming aura in the void. It was someone who came to the scene to watch the battle, but used illusions to cover his body and did not reveal it. Only his aura was revealed. Originally there was some noise around the main peak of Qinjun Mountain, but with the arrival of Xiaoping'an, the noise quickly disappeared until it became quiet. Ever since he became a summoner, Xiaoping'an has never attracted more attention than now. I found a few world beads for you, but the elder locked me up and didn't let me come to see you. You have to be careful. This De Long is the strongest son of God in this generation of the Di family. Xiaoping'an's ears heard Xu Longzi's voice, and the voice was full of grievances. Xiaoping'an followed Xu Longzi's voice and saw Xu Longzi's bright and concerned eyes. Xiaoping'an smiled slightly at Xu Longzi and sent a message, "Don't worry, I came here today not to lose. Brother Mei, be careful with that guy Flute Dragon. That guy is a hypocrite. He talks the most beautifully but has the darkest tricks. Don't be fooled by his appearance." What surprised Xiaoping'an was that the Dao family Zhozang of Dao actually sent a message to Xiaoping'an to remind him. As soon as Dao Zhozang transmitted the message, he was noticed by the swordsman elder next to him. The swordsman elder glared at Dao Zhozang with a warning look in his eyes. Xiaoping'an was about to send a message to say thank you, but he didn't expect that guy from Dao Zhozang to continue to send a message. "This time I bet 500,000 gold coins on you, Brother Mei, to bet that Brother Mei can hold on for a long time, for more than an hour. I won't be beaten to death by the Flute Dragon. Brother Mei, please don't let me lose money. I have to hold on. This bastard." Although there were many people at the scene, there was no need to say anything else at this time. Several elders of the Di family and a group of disciples of the Di family were standing in the most conspicuous place. When the elders of the Flute family saw Xiaoping'an, they did not say anything. People stand up and say something or make an opening statement. Xiaoping'an flew directly towards the main peak of Qinjun Mountain. The aura of the figure above the main peak was too powerful. Xiaoping'an opened his eyes of heaven and looked over, and his heart skipped a beat. The godly son of the Di family, Dalong, seemed to be completely integrated with the surrounding mountains, rivers, land, and sky, and his whole person looked calm and calm. He had his eyes closed, looking indifferent and blending into nature. However, in Xiaopinggan's eyes of heaven, he was completely, it was another scene. Under the eyes of heaven, a huge figure of a god with an astonishing aura, 1,000 meters tall and a vertical eye on his forehead, lowered his head and stood silently behind the flute dragon. The god seemed to be resting. As if guarding the flute dragon, the purple-red thunder and lightning tearing through the void are looming in the clouds and mist behind the three-eyed man, ready to go, just like the tranquility before the collapse of Mount Tai. It seems that the next in seconds, those lightning bolts and the three-eyed god can tear apart and destroy the world. Xiaopinggan was very fast, and in the blink of an eye, he flew within 1,000 meters. Then, the eyes of Dalong, the son of the Di family, who had been keeping his eyes closed, finally opened their eyes. The eye of heaven was blind. The three-eyed vertical eye in the middle of the eyebrows behind Dalong also opened at the same time, with red light shining, looking at Xia. Safety. Brother May is here. Dalong's skin was very white, he smiled shyly, and showed two small tiger teeth. He looked like a clean, handsome, and gentle boy next door. Many ignorant little girls saw this. The smile as bright as the sun might make you dizzy and scream. When he saw Xiaopinggan, Dalong was like seeing an old friend he hadn't seen for many years. There was no murderous spirit at all. It was just Dalong's gaze, but he didn't know it. Unconsciously, he looked at Xiaopinggan's hands, paying special attention to Xiaopinggan's hands. Sorry for keeping Brother Di waiting for so long, Xiaopinggan also smiled and responded gently. Dalong also smiled apologetically and sincerely at Xiaopinggan. It doesn't matter, today's challenge was originally issued by the Di family. Naturally, I should be one step ahead and wait for Brother May. Today's duel is also to solve the problem of my old friend from the Di family. I came here due to a grudge between my ancestors and Senior Mad God, and Brother May is a descendant of Senior Mad God, so I am very grateful that Brother May can come. This flute dragon really speaks beautifully. Xiaopinggan murmured in his heart that if it hadn't been for Dao Zhang's reminder and the strange phenomenon he had just seen on Dalong with the eye of heaven, he might have really thought that this Dalong was a gentle young man who was easy to talk to. I don't know what's going on with the matter between Senior Mad God and the ancestor of the Di family. It's not convenient for us juniors to comment on the matters of those elders. But since I'm here today, I will take over the grudge. Brother Di, but the cultivation level of the top 10 gods must be higher than mine. We will fight later, so please be merciful to Brother Di and give me some advice. Ah, Brother May, you are so polite. You are talking about the top 10 gods. That reputation is just a cloud. As soon as I looked at Brother May, I knew that Brother May must have obtained the true inheritance of martial arts and martial arts from the Mad God Senior. Please show mercy to Brother May later. That's. You're welcome, please give me some advice from Brother Di. Brother May, please give me some advice. Dalong handed over to Xiaopinggan. Xiaopinggan hurriedly returned the favor. To be honest, although I have some connections with Senior Mad God, I'm basically still a wild boy. I can't compare to Brother D's family background. It's so profound and enviable. What I envy the most is that people like Brother May can wander around in the clouds and cranes without any hindrance, and can fully experience the wonders of the world. Where, I actually envy Brother Di for having everything he wants. This kind of family heritage is unmatched by others. It's not like me. Sometimes I have to work hard for a world bead, kill insects, and go on expeditions myself. The bitterness of this is really hard to describe. Even as a son of God, he is just like an ordinary summoner. He has to earn every copper coin by himself. He has experienced all the hardships in the world at such a young age. Brother May's experience is what I envy. The two of them exchanged polite words for a long time in the sky above Qinjun Peak. People who didn't know better thought that the two of them were old friends who hadn't seen each other for decades and reunited. In the end, they couldn't find anything to say, so the two of them exchanged hands. The conversation between the two people was heard in the ears of those summoners 10 miles away who had the ability to hear the conversation between the two people. It made countless people suddenly shocked and confused. They didn't know why the two people were so polite. Many people looked at each other. What are you doing? Why aren't they fighting? Some of the summoners on the periphery couldn't hear what the two were saying, but they could see their movements and expressions, and found that the two didn't actually fight, but were just there. They chatted politely, but everyone was stunned. What is this for? Have the Di family and the Mad God family reconciled? Brother May, let's get started. DeLong smiled shyly again. Xiaopinggan also scratched his head in embarrassment. Then let's get started. Why don't we wait until the gold coin falls on the mountain below and we'll take action together? DeLong suggested as he took out a gold coin in his hand. That's great, it saves us both having to be humble. Yeah, let's give in, but it makes people laugh. Brother Di still knows my thoughts well. DeLong nodded, and then threw the gold coin easily, and the gold coin fell from the air towards the mountain below. Xiaopinggan watched with a smile, not feeling nervous at all. More than 10 seconds later, the gold coin finally landed on the main peak below. At the moment when the gold coin hit the ground, Xiaopinggan and DeLong took action at the same time. The purple-red thunder in the sky was like a mountain explosion. In an instant, it filled the void and immediately enveloped Xiaopinggan in the middle of the thunder, locking him to death. All the thunder blasted towards Xiaopinggan's head, wishing to blast Xiaopinggan into slag. The moment Xiaopinggan made his move, it was the killing move he had been preparing for a long time. There was a flash of light and shadow around him, and the Emperor's sword suddenly came across the sky. It was the strongest and strongest, cutting through the void, and directly slashed towards the neck of the flute dragon. He showed no mercy, and with his unparalleled attitude, he wished he could chop off the opponent's head with one sword. As soon as the two of them took action, they wanted to beat each other to pieces, which shocked the onlookers. Dao Zhang was stunned when he saw it from a distance. He was really sweating for Xiaopinggan just now. Only now did he murmur to himself, Nima, it turns out they are on the same road, each one more sinister than the other. Humph, do you think everyone is as stupid as you? Dao Zhang said from the side. Crazy thunder struck Xiaopinggan, and Xiaopinggan was already prepared. Xuanhuan, as a super shield, appeared directly on Xiaopinggan's head, using a huge tortoise shell to protect Xiaopinggan. At the same time, the snake raised its neck, and countless black ice swirled out, like a countless huge ice shields emerged out of thin air, blooming like flowers, facing the thunder in the sky, and resisting all the thunder. Crazy thunder struck the ice, and dissipated together with the ice that was constantly emerging in the void, turning into water vapor all over the sky. The remaining electric light was also blocked by Xuanhuan's thick armor, and the remaining electric light fell on the mountain below. Go up, the vegetation and trees on the mountain peak were turned into coke in the electric light, and the rocks were shattered. On DeLong's side, the Emperor's sword came to kill him, but he was already like a stream of light. He summoned 3 giants wearing armor and holding giant shields to attack him. He flew back like lightning, and instantly escaped from the attack range of the Emperor's sword. The sword light of the Emperor's sword swept the mountain below, and half of the mountain collapsed in an instant, filled with smoke and dust. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 665. In the sky above the main peak of Qinjun Mountain, thunder and lightning are raging like raindrops. The rumbling thunder gods are so dense that they ring like a string of lit firecrackers. Frost and flames are overwhelming like a tsunami. Ice and fire are in the sky. Same furnace. The sky within a radius of 1 mile, from a distance, is just a transparent mass of strange clouds and mist that are constantly changing colors, entangled, entangled and colliding. The power of nature is twisted and released here, becoming extremely terrifying. It's like the heavenly calamities are being released intensively in that place. Occasionally, the aftermath of the cold current of electric light and flames in the clouds will pierce the twisting movement, and the power will leak out and reach several miles away, tearing apart mountains and breaking earth, charring wood and cracking rocks, or freezing and shattering everything. From time to time, in the energy of the rolling clouds, there would be terrifying sword lights piercing the sky, or summoned ferocious beasts and giants roaring and fighting in the clouds. The fierce fighting between dragons and tigers was simply breathtaking. The snow on the ground for several miles around has already melted in such a fierce battle, but the melted water flows into the stream. It is possible that before it flows very far, a cold air falling from the sky turns into ice, or completely evaporated by a flame. Seeing such a battle, many summoners from the 6th Sun Realm and 7th Sun Realm who were watching changed their expressions. Some summoners from the 8th Sun Realm also looked solemn, with no relaxed expression on their faces. As for the sons of gods from various divine descendant families, after the two of them took action, there was no longer any smile on the faces of the sons of gods. The onlookers were all experts, at least summoners above the 6th Yang realm. Even if everyone was watching the two fighting from 10 miles away, they could already feel that the control of their respective spells by the two fighting people had reached a level extreme. The 10 great sons of gods are indeed well deserved. In the sky, the old man Tai Jian's eyes flashed, looking at the clouds and the two figures in the clouds rolling in the flames and thunder in the distance, and he was deeply moved. Taking a breath, with a hint of emotion in his tone, he looked at the Black Dragon clan master and said, "I'm afraid you and I were no match for them when we were in the Nether realm. Compared with them, we are not as good at controlling spells as they are. The power is still a little less than half a point. I didn't expect Mei Zheng to reach such a level. It's really surprising." There were two whirlpool-like lights in the eyes of the Black Dragon sect master. If you look closely, you will see that the two whirlpool-like lights in the Black Dragon sect's eyes are exactly the light and shadow of two black dragons swimming in the pupils. She could only hear her faint replied, "If the sons of God are all like us, how can those families of divine descendants continue for thousands of years? As the son of God that the De family has spent countless resources to launch, the De family has spared no effort in cultivating De Long. In fact, I'm not surprised that De Long can have such fighting power, but Mei Zheng said that he had struggled all the way and didn't have many resources. He almost sold himself to the 10,000 God sect for the Xuanhuan in the Seven Suns realm." Mei Zheng said, "Being able to have such fighting power really surprises me. In addition to being extremely talented, I also have to work hard and persevere to the extreme. Only then can I reach this point, where I can compete with the flute dragon without missing a single flaw, tit for tat. Young people are terrible. I feel like they are going to get really angry." Old Man Ironsword suddenly twisted his eyes. The duel between magic and magic is already indistinguishable. Only the duel between magic and martial arts can determine the winner. The real showdown is about to come. At this point, the two people's eyes suddenly became more focused. Elder Shulong's eyes flashed as he looked at the battlefield in the distance. He suddenly turned his head and looked at Shulongzi's fourth uncle, who had a solemn look on his face. He said lightly, "I finally know why Mei Zheng was able to be there that day. Our Shulong family kidnapped 11 in front of a group of experts and you failed to keep her. It is indeed not unfair. He is indeed a great talent, what a pity." Shulongzi's fourth uncle looked at the battlefield and softly uttered 4 words. The elders of the Shulong family understand what the word pity means. If a godson like Mei Zheng were born in another god-descended family, he would probably never achieve more than this. The elder of the Shulong family glanced at Shulongzi, who was watching the battle intently and nervously, and sighed secretly in his heart. Perhaps Shulongzi didn't realize it herself. She was too focused on the battle and too nervous. She pinched the hem of her skirt tightly with one hand, which had messed up the smooth hem of her skirt. On the battlefield, the white tiger flying in the air next to Xiaopingan roared, and the sharp blade-like storm around him swirled violently like a tornado, sweeping through all the spaces within 100 meters around Xiaopingan, rushing towards Xiaopingan 50. The hidden assassin of the Shen class several meters away was stirred up and dissipated like pieces of meat thrown into a meat grinder. Summoning assassins is of course not Xiaopingan's patent. Flute Dragon can also summon assassins, and they are also Shen-level assassins. The next second, countless flaming thunders enveloped the white tiger summoned by Xiaopingan, turning the white tiger into light. A fiery snake rushed towards Xiaopingan, entangled with Xiaopingan's Xuanhuan in the air. In an instant, flames and wind and snow rolled in the air, and hit the ground heavily. A violent explosion occurred. Just before the explosion, the main peak of Qinjun Mountain, which was originally half-flat, was once again several dozen meters shorter. Broken stones were thrown in the air like hailstones, shooting in all directions with a roaring sound. Xiaopingan's body was both flying and beating. The combination of flying and the magical skill of growing lotus step by step was seamless. His whole body was beating like a ghost in the lightning that shuttled through the sky. The frequency was so high that it was difficult to see with the naked eye. Distinguish! De Long roared and rushed towards him, but before he could get close to Xiaopingan, a pair of golden shoes suddenly appeared at the feet of De Long. Originally, De Long had unknowingly stepped on the magic trap that Xiaopingan had arranged in the sky. On the top, a pair of huge gold shoes over 1 meter long suddenly appeared under his feet, and the whole person was dropped from the sky by the big shoes. Before he fell a few meters, raging flames ignited from Flute Dragon's body, melting the golden shoes that were originally on his feet like shackles. Then De Long pointed his finger, and a huge shield appeared above his head, which instantly broke the divine thunder summoned by Xiaopingan and fell on his head. There was a fierce battle between spells, and both sides were evenly matched in the sky. Ha ha ha, Brother Mei is so capable. De Long smiled and flew back several hundred meters. We're almost done warming up, let's show some real skills. That's what you meant, then I'd better obey you with respect. Xiaopingan also smiled, and had already rushed forward, punching De Long. With this punch, De Long's face changed instantly, and so did the faces of all the masters watching from the outside. The combination of law and martial arts. Because Xiaopingan punched out, fire began to fall in the sky. The flames poured down from the sky like overturned sea water. A line of fire 3 or 4 miles long appeared in the sky, turned into waves, and headed towards the Flute Dragon swept away, and the whole sky suddenly turned red. At the same time, a golden sun rose from behind De Long. In the sun, a man with lightning flashing all over his body walked out of the sun. He held the sun with both hands and smashed directly towards Xiaopingan. The divine bone Dharma. Countless people onlookers exclaimed again. This is the sacred bone of the 10 great sons of gods, Flute Dragon. The giant spirit held the sun and smashed it out in one day. It was like a mountain falling, and there was already a hint of the power of the kingdom of God. There seems to be only one of the top 10 sons of gods who can have the appearance of divine bones. Boom! The roaring flames and the scorching sun collided in the sky. In just an instant, the onlookers 10 miles away felt the overwhelming wind and shock waves hitting their faces from the place where Xiaopingan and De Long fought. Come, the wind blows so hard that many people can't open their eyes, their skin hurts, their clothes and robes rustle, and even the clouds in the sky are suddenly washed away and blown away. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 666. Xiaopingan didn't know what the divine bone Dharma was, but when the giant summoned by the Flute Dragon with his hands flashing with lightning and holding the sun hit him with the sun, Xiaopingan felt that what hit him was a mountain, a fire, a Sunday city, there are billions of thunders, and in a moment, the earth shakes and the mountains shake. The terrifying power is mixed with the powerful magic output. The two powers are mixed together, which seems to be another form of combining magic and martial arts. Overwhelming and suffocating. In the face of such power, ordinary summoners would probably despair and feel as insignificant as ants. When the power of the five elements fist collided with the power of the giant and the scorching sun, Xiaoping's body at the center of the power storm suddenly endured unimaginable pressure. Just when the pressure reached a critical point, a golden light emerged from Xiaoping's body flashed, and the secret method of protecting the Vajra body was suddenly activated. With the blessing of the secret method of the Vajra body, Xiaoping's body suddenly became as strong as a Vajra, and the skin all over his body suddenly turned into a bronze color similar to that of a bronze man. The terrifying power brought by the Thunder Giant was directly absorbed by the Vajra body. At this moment, Xiaoping's fighting spirit finally erupted like a volcano, and he roared loudly. Facing the Thunder Giant that rushed over again, holding the sun with both hands, Xiaoping did not retreat, but like a meteor hitting the planet, he rushed over fiercely. Xiaoping only had one thought as strong as a hill in his heart: war. 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 In this battle, what he condensed was his Taoist heart, his determination to become a god, and his original intention to come to the world of Yuan Kaiyu. In this battle, the enemy he faced was not DeLong, but himself. Ask the heart with the fist, ask with the heart. Facing everything with a fearless heart is the heart of a strong man. The rising sun is like a mountain, and it hits Xiaoping's head again, like a landslide. The electric light on the Thunder Giant's body is connected with the void, and the dense electric light is like a net from the void, covering Xiaoping's head. This was the second move between the two. The flute dragon in the distance had long hair floating in the sky. There were no eyeballs in his eyes, but a dazzling blue light, with inhuman indifference and indifference. Arrogant and domineering, he raised his hands as if holding the sun, and his movements were exactly the same as those of the Thunder Giant, and he smashed Xiaoping on the head. Xiaoping's hand quickly made a fearless hand seal, and the hand seal turned into a fist. The power of gold, wood, water, fire, and earth around the main peak of Qinjun Mountain boiled at this moment, as if receiving an order. Countless lightnings fell on Xiaoping. Under the protection of the golden body, Xiaoping's whole body was like a filament electrifying in the air. His whole person was blasted by the lightning and glowed brightly. However, he still had no fear and rushed towards the smashing machine. The setting Sunday. This is. Among the crowd watching the battle in the distance, everyone was shocked to see Xiaoping's whole body was almost lit up by those lightnings. What a powerful secret method of body protection, but it is not afraid of thunder bombardment at all. Old Man Iron Sword sighed. Before the punch came, the violent earth energy was like the earth being filled with void, tearing apart those dense thunder clouds and lightning. No matter how powerful the lightning was, it could not damage the earth at all. Therefore, when ordinary summoners saw it from a distance, it was Xiaoping. When the fist was blasted out, the thunder clouds and lightning in the sky were suddenly blasted away, like a miracle. Only masters at the Nine Yang realm and above can feel in Xiaoping's fist that Xiaoping's punch has mobilized the power of the five elements of heaven and earth. The power of the earth element is like the earth and hills filling the sky. So that the thunder clouds in the sky could not even thunder, and had lost the space for change. This is obviously the way of the mad god's magic and magic. Xiaoping's fist finally collided with the giant's rising Sunday. Like two invisible mountains clashing in the air. Boom! The main peak of Qinjun Mountain was finally completely flattened by this blow. The Thunder Giant, Flute Dragon, and Xiaoping flew out simultaneously amid the violent roar and collision. Even if Xiaoping was protected by a golden body, blood could not help spurting out of his mouth at this moment. In the violent collision, his whole body was directly shot from the sky to the ground like a meteorite by the giant, breaking several buildings. Mountain peak, the whole body of a person was deeply embedded in a mountain, knocking a big hole out of the mountain. The flute dragon also vomited blood and flew backwards. The bright scorching sun on the thunder giant's hand had already cracked under this blow. The expressions of all the people watching changed, especially the elders and disciples of the Di family. They could hardly believe that Xiaoping'an could hit the Delong divine bone with two powerful blows so hard, and even make the Delong vomit blood. The next second, before Delong could recover, the mountain Xiaoping'an crashed into had erupted like a volcano. Countless magma erupted violently from the top of the mountain. The power of fire in the terrifying five elements power suddenly exploded. Half of the mountain was melted, and Xiaoping'an flew out of the mountain like a cannonball, standing proudly in the sky. Xiaoping'an twisted his thumb and middle finger together with both hands and held them upright in front of his chest. The other fingers naturally relaxed and formed a will seal. Then he raised the power of the five elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth with both hands, and suddenly it was above Xiaoping'an's head. It condensed into a slowly rotating five-color giant wheel with a diameter of more than a kilometer. As soon as the five-element giant wheel appeared, everyone onlookers took a breath of air conditioning, and many people were even stunned. The giant wheel started to turn in Xiaoping'an's hand. Within 100 miles, the storm suddenly surged and the wind howled. Some summoners with lower cultivation levels even felt that the giant wheel in Xiaoping'an's hand would turn themselves. Just like sucking it? What is the five-color giant wheel? What kind of secret method is that? Is it a martial arts secret method or a summoner's method? Xiaoping'an moved the giant wheel with both hands high, like a god coming down to earth, and rushed towards Delong again, laughing loudly, "Brother Di, come again." Flute Dragon's expression had changed, but at this time, his thunder giant with the divine bone form still rushed towards Xiaoping'an's five-color giant wheel. The thunder giant grew another head and two more arms. The two extra arms held up a bright moon, making the sun and moon shine together, and the yin and yang burn together. The great wheel of the five elements collides with the sun and moon of the divine bone dharma again. Although Flute Dragon's divine bone dharma is powerful, Xiaoping'an's five elements wheel is just like a huge mountain without a seat, shaking the heaven and earth. When the two collide, the power is terrifying. This is also the third collision between the two. Boom! The violent five-element power and brilliant brilliance erupted at the collision site at the same time. The main peak of Qinjun Mountain on the ground had completely disappeared and turned into a big pit. The aftermath on the ground was like an earthquake, spreading hundreds of miles away. The mountains trembled. The violent shock waves swept across all directions at a higher speed and with greater power than the previous two times. Several peaks around the ground were directly knocked down, and rocks collapsed. Many of the experts and strongmen among the spectators 10 miles away where a water curtain had been summoned to block the sky in front of him, and the shock wave of this attack was completely resolved only by the turbulence of the water curtain. The result of this blow was that the five elements wheel was shattered, Xiaoping'an spurted blood again, and was blown backwards 1,000 meters away. Flute Dragon was not much better. He was vomiting blood and was knocked backwards for 1,000 meters. The sun and moon in the divine bone form were already covered with cracks, and the light on the thunder giant was mostly dimmed, making him look a little sluggish. "Brother Di, it's fun, let's do it again." Xiaoping'an spit out blood, but he was smiling, his eyes were as bright as the sun, and the ferocious five elements energy surged around Xiaoping'an. Xiaoping'an once again formed a will seal, and the violent five-element energy was once again held up by Xiaoping'an's hands, and once again condensed into a five-element giant wheel. Xiaoping'an held the giant wheel and flew towards the flute dragon again. Using the giant wheel he smashed hard at Delong and his divine bone method. This time, just like last time, both sides suffered losses. Neither Xiaoping'an nor Delong took any advantage. Just when Xiaoping'an was high-spirited and ready to condense the five elements wheel for the third time, what was surprising was that Yang Qianzhong, the elder of the Yang family, suddenly spoke and flew to the field. With a wave of his hand, he connected with the sky one after another. The curtain of water on the ground separated Xiaopinggan and DeLong. Young Master Mei and young Master Di both have peerless looks. I think this competition will end here. Even if the two gods are tied, if the fight continues, the two young masters may not be able to hold back and will make a killing move. Things will get messy. It's too big, it's not good for Senior Mad God and the Di family. Xiaopinggan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. The 5 elements wheel in his hand had stopped condensing. He looked at DeLong with a smile and asked politely, "What do you think, Brother Di?" At this moment, DeLong's bun was broken and disheveled, and his ears were bleeding. When he heard Xiaopinggan's words, he smiled shyly and politely, still so graceful, "I think what Senior Yang said is reasonable. I haven't used the killing move that combines the realm and the divine bone method. If I were to use it, I'm afraid I can't control it. It would be bad if something goes wrong. The same goes for me. I have only used 2 of the 5 hand seals of the Mad God that combine magic and martial arts. There are still several more hand seals in the back. I'm afraid I won't be able to control myself if I use them," Xiaopinggan said. Senior Mad God's method of combining magic and martial arts is indeed extremely powerful. I admire him. Where, Brother D's divine bone dharma is a natural and unparalleled power. It is really an honor to be taught by Brother Di today. In the blink of an eye, Xiaopinggan dismissed the 5 elements wheel in his hand, and he and DeLong were chatting and laughing in the air like good friends, making those onlookers look at each other in confusion. I hope I will have the opportunity to ask Brother Mei for advice again in the future. It's easy to say. I didn't expect that Brother Di has mastered the method of the field. It is really powerful. Brother Di will be the target of my study in the future. Let's meet again another day. DeLong said, hugging Xiaopinggan and preparing to fly towards the Di family's lightning boat. Ahem, okay, I heard rumors in Longjiao City before that the Di family is planning to let Brother Di compete with me this time before contacting the Blood Demon sect and using the Blood Demon sect to get rid of me. I don't know if Brother Di, do you know this? Just when everyone thought that today's battle between the sons of God was about to end, Xiaopinggan's words suddenly silenced the surrounding sky again, and made many people's hearts beat wildly. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 667. Shocking. The Di family is actually colluding with the Blood Demon sect, and wants to let the Blood Demon sect take the opportunity to kill Mei Zheng after the contest between DeLong and Mei Zheng? What Xiaopinggan just said was heard by everyone present, the Divine Family, the experts and strong men who were watching, and countless people from Longjiao City, all heard it clearly. To be honest, this sentence shocked everyone's hearts even more than the contest between Xiaopinggan and DeLong just now. The sky that was roaring just now suddenly became completely quiet because of Xiaopinggan's words. Even the sound of the wind whistling through the sky that was not noticed before became louder at this moment. It's harsh. Countless people were looking at the Di family and Xiaopinggan, and some thoughts flashed through the minds of each of the spectators. Mad God had severely injured Zhu Emotion and had formed a bloody feud with the Blood Demon section. The Blood Demon sect would definitely not give up. However, Mad God has an irresolvable grudge with the Di family. The so-called enemy of the enemy is a friend. The Di family may not dare to blatantly kill Xiaopinggan here for fear of Mad God's crazy revenge, but if the Di family and the Blood Demon sect, if they join forces, they can turn this battle between the sons of gods into a killing game against the disciples of the descendants of the Mad God, and finally the Ghost Blood Demon sect will take action. This layout is simply a perfect combination. In this way, the Di family took revenge on the Mad God and eradicated the descendants of the Mad God without having to bear the responsibility for the death of the disciples. The Blood Demon sect also took revenge, which was equivalent to ending the Mad God. The bloodline, both sides get what they need, it's perfect. There were so many smart people present. Just by turning their heads, everyone instantly felt that what Xiaopinggan had just said, maybe was true, and countless people looked at the De family in weird ways. Stand up. It would be fine if Mei Zhen didn't know about such a conspiracy. If Mei Zhen knew about it, how would the De family end? However, Mei Zhen also revealed this matter. This is the highlight of today's contest between the descendant of the Mad God, the son of God, and the son of the De family. He had always been personable before, smiling shyly and gently even if he vomited blood. When DeLong heard Xiaopinggan's question, his face finally turned pale, becoming a little pale, and cold sweat appeared on his temples. To be honest, DeLong did not know that anyone in the De family had made such a deal with the Blood Demon sect, but DeLong did not dare to be 100% sure that none of the elders and managers of the De family had done so, because it is indeed tempting to kill the descendants of the Mad God. The De family does have such a motive and has such room for maneuver. As the divine son and future star of the De family, DeLong's mission and responsibility in the De family is to become a god, or at least become a demigod, to continue the glory of the De family. As for these intrigues and grievances, the De family will naturally have someone to take care of them. It won't bother him. After Xiaopinggan said those words, the first reaction that came to DeLong's mind was, if Mei Zhen is killed by the blood demon cult in the future, then the De family will definitely be infamous among the divine descendants. And he will definitely bear all the wrath of the Mad God. The blood demon sect can hide like a mouse, so that the Mad God may not be able to find it, but the De family has a huge business, so how can they hide? Therefore, Xiaopinggan's ordinary words just now have actually pushed the De family to the most dangerous edge. If Xiaopinggan is really killed by the blood demon cult, then the De family will become the mastermind behind the scenes in everyone's hearts. Traitor. The De family does things openly and will never collude with the blood demon sect to do such despicable and shameless things. What Brother May heard must be rumors fabricated by people with ulterior motives. Various thoughts flashed through his head. After the consequences, the voice of the top 10 godsons of the De family shook the void and could be heard almost 100 miles away. DeLong looked upright, puffed out his chest, and was even filled with righteous indignation. He just used magic to move the back of his head. A circle of holy light emerged. Since Brother De said this, I'm relieved. I completely believe what Brother De said. I also believe that this is a rumor fabricated by someone with ulterior motives. I will never believe it. Xiaopinggan smiled, laughing so hard his face was bright, relieved, and very sincere. After today's battle, thank you Brother De for your teachings. Mei Zhen is satisfied, so I will leave. Ahem. What I just said was actually made up by Xiaopinggan. Yes, it was a frame-up. It was just a slanderous attempt to frame myself and make unfounded assumptions. Xiaopinggan had never heard anyone say that. The god of fortune boy had not found any traces or abnormalities of the blood demon sect in Longjiao City these days. However, he just had to say this, and he said it in public, as if it were true, so that everyone would know, think, and speculate like this, and everyone would think that the De family would do this. First of all, if he died at the hands of the blood demon cult, the De family would have to take the blame for him. He might even die at the hands of someone else, and the De family would become the object of everyone's suspicion. If the De family wants to avoid taking the blame for themselves, then the only way is not to let themselves die at the hands of the blood demon cult. Only in this way can they wash away the suspect of killing them. Isn't the De family awesome? Then, in the future, his personal safety will be officially linked to the fate of the De family. As long as he encounters any accidents, once he is assassinated by the blood demon cult, the De family will have to think about facing the Mad God. Consequences of revenge. If something happened to him, the De family's head and elders would only think about how many De family's children would be buried with him. Xiaopinggan didn't believe that the De family's head and elders could sleep well. This is also the intention behind Xiaoping'an coming to compete with the Di family's son today. The most important move in the entire contest is actually not the earth-shattering fight between him and De Long just now, but in this last sentence. In history, the real murderer what hurts the most is not the fists and swords, but the tongue and the sword. The Blood Demon sect and the Di family were too busy, so Xiaoping'an gave them some fun and directly tied the Di family to his chariot. If the elders of the Di family had thought that after the battle between the Di family's divine son and themselves, the future fate of the Di family might be tied to their own personal safety. Xiaoping'an was sure that the elders of the Di family would have, even if he dies, he will never let De Long finish such a contest with him again. In this contest, what the Di family is betting on may be the future fortune of the Di family's family, and it is impossible for the Di family to win in any case. Not only De Long, but also the elders of the Di family and the younger generations of the Di family who were watching the battle, none of them were fools. When De Long's cold sweat came down, their cold sweat also came off all at once, and their hearts were with them. Shiver. Before, the people of the Di family did not expect such a result. The whole situation turned upside down and the Di family suddenly became the target of public criticism because of Mei Zheng's words just now. Seeing Xiaoping'an flying towards Longjiao City with blood in the corners of his mouth tremblingly, the corners of the Di family's elders' eyes were beating and their hearts were trembling, for fear that someone might jump out halfway and prepare to ambush the descendant of Mad God. A master of the demon sect, the Di family couldn't even wash themselves away after jumping into the sea of immortality. This guy must not get into trouble, especially not at the hands of the blood demon sect. Mr. Mei, please stay. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, the elder of the Di family had no choice but to fly out and stop Xiaoping'an. A month ago, the elder of the Di family who wanted to crush Xiaoping'an to pieces showed a look on his face. With a smile that was uglier than crying, he gritted his teeth but pretended to be sincere and said, "I think Mr. Mei has been injured. The Di family's lightning boat has healing magic medicine and a psychic bed. Why don't Mr. Mei come to us? Let's recuperate on the flying boat and then." Seeing the way the elder Di family knocked out his teeth and still swallowed it into his stomach with a smile, Xiaoping'an's face suddenly became righteous, but he said with a little embarrassment, will it trouble the Di family too much? No, no, this contest between Mr. Mei and De Long was originally a friendly discussion. Seeing that Mr. Mei was injured, we, the Di family, are really sorry, and we also ask Mr. Mei to give us, the Di family, a way to express our feelings. Opportunity. The Di family elders said this in full view of everyone, and then feeling the eyes of those around him looking at him, he already wanted to find a gap on the ground to get in, but there was no way. The Mei Zheng in front of him didn't look seriously injured now. To be honest, if something happened to Mei Zheng, he couldn't bear the responsibility. De Long also flew over, with a warm and sincere smile on his face, and said to Xiaoping'an, "Brother Mei, please don't refuse, and come to our Di family's flying boat to recuperate. If Brother Mei refuses, then you just look down on me." In the end, Xiaoping'an, seeing how sincere the Di family was, finally pretended to be difficult and agreed, then, okay. The smile on the elder flute's face at this moment was simply uglier than crying. Then, under everyone's gaze, Xiaoping'an was welcomed by the Di family's people to the Di family's flying boat. The old man Ironsword and the leader of the Black Dragon sect watched Xiaoping'an being welcomed onto the flying boat by the people of the Di family. The two looked at each other. Even though they were old men in the world, they were still in each other's arms at this moment. There was a look of surprise in his eyes. Not only the two of them, but all the people watching the excitement in Qinjun Mountain looked at each other in shock when facing this final outcome. No one could have predicted it. Old man Taijian sighed and said via voice transmission, "Oh, I can't even understand the young people nowadays." The leader of the Black Dragon sect also sighed, shook his head, and said quietly, "The younger generation is to be feared, the younger generation is to be feared." The people of the Di family are probably ashamed of themselves now. If something happens to Mei Zheng in the future, the Di family will be the first to escape. It's related. So, as long as the blood demon sect remains alive, the Di family may have to face the mad god's crazy revenge at any time, which may put pressure on their family's destiny. So, in today's contest, Mr. May found a life or death enemy for both the blood demon cult and the Di family with just one sentence. Mei Zheng turned the tables and took the initiative with just one sentence. The words he just said could be used by a demigod. On the other side of the Dao family, the brothers and sisters of the Dao family were also dumbfounded. Dao Zhozang looked at Xiaopinggan, who was finally greeted by the Di family on the flying boat like a distinguished guest, and had to wailed, "My gold coins!" Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 668. In the misty room, Xiaopinggan soaked in the blue medicinal spring in the room, and the pores in his body relaxed. The medicinal properties and energy in the medicinal spring continued to penetrate into Xiaopinggan's body. This kind of comfort the feeling made him want to stay like this forever. 108 elixirs from heaven and earth were placed in the medicinal spring. The medicinal properties of the elixir were entirely in the medicinal spring. The medicinal power in the medicinal spring penetrated into Xiaopinggan's body bit by bit along with the pores of his skin. Within the bones, blood and muscles, it can strengthen the muscles and bones, nourish the organs, heal injuries, soothe the mind and improve the mind, and can also treat 178 major and minor diseases hidden in the human body. This is the 7th time Xiaopinggan has soaked in this precious medicinal spring since he came to the Di family's flying boat. 21 days have passed since he competed with DeLong. During these 21 days, he soaked in this precious medicinal spring once every 3 days, which made his life extremely comfortable. In fact, when Xiaopinggan soaked in this kind of medicinal spring for the 2nd time, all the injuries on his body caused by the battle with DeLong were healed. Every time he soaked in such a medicinal spring, Xiaopinggan felt that his body muscles and bones, his energy and blood would be stronger, and his soul power would even increase a little. Therefore, since the Di family's hospitality was hard to refuse, Xiaopinggan accepted it calmly without any scruples. This is what the flute family calls the magic medicine for healing. After these days of soaking, Xiaopinggan was a blessing in disguise. His body, bones, and organs were actually much stronger than before he competed with DeLong. As for the psychic treasure bed, it is also one of the treasures of the Di family. It is the psychic treasure bed that Xiaopinggan sleeps on the flying boat these days. The psychic treasure bed is directly made from countless insect crystals using secret methods. Like a huge piece of black jade, carved into the shape of a bed. As long as the summoner sleeps on it, the body's qi, blood, and divine power can be quickly restored. Xiaopinggan slept for a few days and found that as long as he slept on that kind of psychic treasure bed, I can actually recover nearly 100 points more of my daily divine power. After sleeping on such a psychic bed for a month, a summoner's secret mandala can recover more than 3,000 points of divine power. Over the years, it is simply amazing. I heard that the psychic treasure bed originally belonged to DeLong, the son of the Di family, because after Xiaopinggan boarded the Di family's flying boat, the Di family took out all the psychic treasure beds. And the medicine spring in front of you, why is it this color? Because among the 108 elixirs in this medicine spring, there are bone marrow extracted from the Zerg people above the 8 Yang realm, and the others are thousands of years old. Polygonum multiflorum, Ganoderma lucidum and other rare things. The name of this medicine spring is Jotian Bibeo Giwan Medicine Spring. Except for the powerful and wealthy divine families like the Di family, ordinary small families really can't come up with such a thing. After soaking in the medicinal spring for almost 2 hours, he waited until the blue medicinal spring turned transparent and all the medicinal properties in the medicinal spring were absorbed by Xiaopinggan's body. Xiaopinggan, who was lying in the spring, opened his eyes. Let out a long sigh of satisfaction. This time after taking a dip in the Jotian Bibaogiwan medicine spring, Xiaoping'an felt that the blood and qi were boiling in his body, his internal organs were all glowing, and the muscles, bones, flesh and blood all over his body seemed to have the strength of one or two more bulls and tigers. It was so refreshing. Xiaoping'an stood up from the medicinal spring, put on a fragrant bathrobe and walked out of the bathroom. The waiting maids kneeling outside had already come over with brand new clothes, shoes, and socks. Xiaoping'an only had to open his hands, and those maids would he served and dressed Xiaoping'an. The clothes Xiaoping'an is wearing at the moment are made of expensive fabrics such as Tianxin hemp, jade cotton, golden silk, etc., both inside and outside. They look ordinary, but are actually extremely luxurious. They reveal the heritage of the goddess family everywhere. Looking at himself in the mirror with a ruddy complexion, twinkling eyes, and bulging muscles, Xiaoping'an couldn't help but smile. After getting dressed, Xiaoping'an walked out refreshed and saw DeLong waiting outside, drinking tea. DeLong naturally recovered, and his whole body showed the demeanor of a young man from an aristocratic family. "Brother Mei, are you feeling better?" DeLong stood up when he saw Xiaoping'an, with his signature sunny shy smile on his face. "It's much better. I feel like I've recovered a lot. This Jotian Bibaogiwan medicine spring is really good. I feel like if I soak in it another 70 or 80 times, the injuries on my body will be completely healed." Xiaoping'an chuckled. DeLong's brows were twitching, and he had already scolded Xiaoping'an countless times in his heart, but he still smiled and said gently, "Brother Mei is joking. I feel that Brother Mei has recovered a few times, and this time Brother Mei my strength should still be improving. This week, the Bibaogiwan medicinal spring is in our Di family. The medicinal spring materials that can be collected in a year are only 30 or 40. In this competition in Longjiao City, Brother Mei and I, the consumption of people has already exhausted the inventory of Jotian Bibaogiwan medicine spring that our Di family has saved this year. If Brother Mei wants to take a dip, he can come to our Di family in another year and take a few more dips. Anyway, Di from now on, Brother and our Di family will be one family." DeLong's last words made Xiaoping'an stunned for a moment. "Family? Even if I have gained some benefits from the Di family in the past few days, I and the Di family are still not a family, right? Oh, I don't understand what Brother Di is saying. Although Brother Di and I hit it off, what does Brother Di mean by being a family?" DeLong smiled, with a slight change in his smile. "Come, Brother Mei, let's sit down and talk. We have something happy to tell Brother Mei." "Oh, really? A happy event? What a happy event!" Xiaoping'an sat down in front of DeLong. DeLong also sat down, poured a cup of tea for Xiaoping'an, and then began to say, "Didn't our Di family say we wanted to give Brother Mei an explanation a few days ago?" "Not bad," Xiaoping'an nodded. "Is there any result?" DeLong's expression began to turn serious. "In recent days, under the strict requirements of the head of the house and the Elders' Council, we, the head of the house, have conducted a thorough investigation from top to bottom. The result of the thorough investigation is that our head of the house has no one below the elders has ever had contact with the blood demon section. The rumors that Brother Mei heard before that our Mei family colluded with the blood demon sect to harm Brother Mei are definitely rumors fabricated by people with ulterior motives. Please don't believe it." "Oh, really?" Xiaoping'an smiled, gently picked up the teacup and took a sip, without comment. "Having said that, I would like to congratulate Brother Mei." DeLong's smile suddenly became enthusiastic. "Ah, why congratulations?" Xiaoping'an was really stunned. "In order to win the trust of the world, and to resolve the grudges between our Di family and the senior mad god, and not to allow those Xiao with ulterior motives to take advantage of the loopholes, just 2 days ago, our head of the Di family has announced it to the world and notified all the divine descendant families. The Di family will marry Brother Mei. Our noble daughter Di Xuanhuan, who is the head of the Di family, has been engaged to Brother Mei. From now on, the sons born to Di Xuanhuan will be half named Di and half named Mei. From now on, our two families will be one family. That Di Xuanhuan is my cousin, she is beautiful and has a gentle and generous personality. Now she is a summoner in the Zhaoxian realm. As long as she waits until Brother Mei reaches the 8 Yang realm, she can come to the Di family to marry me at any time. Cousin, Brother Mei, tell me, what are we not a family? From now on, Brother Mei can call me uncle. Xiaopinggan was really shocked. Originally, he wanted to trap the entire Di family, but unexpectedly, during the few days he was on the flying boat, the Di family not only untied him, but also lassoed him with such a coquettish operation. Marriage. Xiaopingyan didn't expect that the Di family could actually use this method to resolve the situation in front of him. Yes, once the Di family marries himself and marries the noble daughter of the Di family who is the direct descendant of the head of the Di family to himself, then the Di family and the blood demon sect have joined forces to get rid of their rumors, so naturally they will not attack themselves. Damn, this is just one of them. Secondly, since it is impossible for anyone in the Di family to be the opponent of the Mad God, even if they want to use the array of gods to regain their previous position, it will not be that easy. It is a risk and may involve paying a huge price. So, changing from one perspective, the Flute family can use this marriage to ease the tension with the Mad God, and at the same time, it can also use the Mad God's influence to strengthen the Flute family's prestige. Thirdly, because he is the Son of God, the blood of the Son of God is also the most precious resource in the family of God descendants. Because the blood of the Son of God is very likely to continue to inherit the divine bones in future generations, marrying a woman from the Di family to him is equivalent to allowing myself to breed for the Di family. If a son of God is born in the future, according to the operation of the Di family, there is a high probability that it will be named Di. Such a backhand operation by the Di family is equivalent to swallowing the blood descendants of the Mad God lineage and growing stronger. The foundation of the Di family was revealed, and the grudge between the Mad God and the Mad God was indirectly resolved. No one without great wisdom and skill can pull off such an operation. Xiaopingyan had previously defeated the Di family's army with a backhand, but he did not expect that the Di family would be defeated in the blink of an eye. Xiaopingyan could only sigh. Since the Di family has told the world about this and notified all the divine descendant families to show their sincerity that they will not be enemies with him, then if he dares not to give face, it will be tantamount to showing his sincerity. Determined to completely break up with the Mei family and create a life and death situation. Once they are sure that they have such intentions, the Di family will definitely not let themselves live anymore. They can only harden their hearts and kill themselves, and then continue to look for the Mad God. The new and old accounts will be settled together. The latter choice would mean losing his life for him, and for the Di family, his relationship with the Mad God would continue to deteriorate and he would have to fight to the end. In fact, Xiaopingyan understood that he was not a descendant of the crazy god at all, and he had only met the crazy god twice. Even if he was destroyed by the Di family, the crazy god must know that he might not even blink an eyelid. Let alone avenge yourself. Brother Di, should you discuss this matter with me? Xiaopingyan could only smile bitterly at Di Long. Di Long smiled shyly and sunnily, Brother Mei, don't worry, the children of our Di family are all sensible. If Brother Mei has other confidants or wants to marry another woman, the Di family will not interfere at all. Brother Mei, you can get married whenever you want. Xiaopingyan knew that this time the Di family's rip-off had come to an end. The two sides basically had a draw. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 669. The Di family's lightning flying boat was parked in the sky above Longjiao City. These days, with the end of the duel between Xiaopingyan and Mei Zheng, Longjiao City has basically returned to its previous appearance. The teams from the Divine family who came to watch the duel have basically left, except for the Di family. The masters and strong men who came to Longjiao City basically walked the same route, and everyone saw almost what they should see. The duel between Mei Zheng and De Long shocked many people. After this battle, the name Mei Zheng has been ranked with the top 10 divine sons of the divine descendants family, and is known as one of the most likely divine sons to become gods in the future. Crazy God won hope for the rise of the pulse. The reason why the Di family's flying boat did not fly away from Longjiao City was because they were afraid that if something happened to Xiaopinggan accidentally after the flying boat left, the Di family would not be able to tell, so they simply stopped leaving. The flying boat has been parked above Longjiao City for more than 20 days. It is usually motionless and no one comes and goes. But this morning, as the hatch of the flying boat opened, someone came out of the flying boat. Xiaopingyan, escorted by De Long and the elder DMO, flew out of the flying boat and stood in the air. The weather is good today. The snow in Longjiao City has begun to melt, and it is rare to see sunshine in the sky. Brother Di, Elder Di, I'll spare you the trouble. Iron Sword Peak is not far away. I can just fly back by myself. Xiaopingyan stood in the air and said to the two of them seriously, I once made a decision. Ambition, if you can't become a demigod, why should you call home? I thought about it carefully last night. In order not to delay the noble daughter of the Di family's great youth, I plan to come to the Di family after reaching the demigod state to discuss marriage and a wife. I don't know this yet. How many years should I wait? I think the safest way is to wait until I advance to the demigod realm, and when the Di family discusses this matter, the Di family can choose a suitable one to be my wife. De Long and DMO looked at each other and exchanged glances. DMO pondered slightly and looked at Xiaopingyan. Mr. Mei means that the marriage can be finalized, but the Di family will decide when the time comes. Xiaopingyan smiled, yes, that's what I mean. Miss Di Xuanhuan and I have never met. I don't know how many years it will take for me to advance to the demigod realm. It's not good for Miss Di to just wait for me. I'm afraid that if I delay her, then I will be guilty of a big sin. So why not wait until I arrive at Di's house in the future to see who I am destined to marry before discussing marriage, so that no one is delayed, and I can relax. Well, I can also make the decision on this matter, just as Mr. Mei said, Elder DMO said. Brother Mei, if you have time, you can come to our Di family's Bai Ziwan as a guest at any time, De Long said. Sure. After the three of them said a few words in the air, DMO and De Long boarded the flying boat again. Then, in Xiaopingyan's eyes, the Di family's flying boat flashed in the air like a flash of lightning and disappeared into the sky in the blink of an eye. Xiaopingyan finally let out a long breath. Up to now, the affairs of the Di family have finally been settled. After several rounds of fighting with the Di family, today it is finally concluded. At the last moment, the Di family did not push the envelope. Everyone took a step back and stopped when they were ready, so that each of them had a decent and satisfactory ending to the matter. In fact, the Di family always said that who to marry is not the most important. As long as a woman named Di is fine, as long as she does not insist on it, the Di family will be happy. What the Di family wants is marriage and the resolution of the conflicts they have brought. Crisis, and at the same time coveting the bloodline of the mad god, as long as he admits this marriage. And for me, it will be easier to go to the Di family after I am a demigod. I feel that I don't owe anyone, and I don't have to be afraid of anyone. I don't have to be trapped by the Di family in front of me. I will go to the Di family at that time, because, it's not just a marriage, it's the road to becoming a god. As a family of divine origin, the Di family's research on becoming a god is really beyond the comparison of ordinary family sects, and it can definitely be a reference for themselves. For the Di family, recruiting a god son-in-law and a demigod son-in-law have completely different meanings, and their own weight is also different. When the time comes, they can have a good talk with the Diff family, and then they can have a marriage or something. But nothing, as long as I can get resources that can be traded with the Diff family. What about resources? If nothing else, I am a saint master. If I were to initiate dozens of core disciples of the Diff family and let the dozens of core disciples of the Diff family fuse some highly difficult world beads to break their cultivation bottleneck, I don't know what this would be like. Transaction, whether the flute family is moved or not. If I reveal my abilities as a holy master now as Mei Zheng, I'm afraid no one will doubt me anymore. With this thought in his mind, Xiaopinggan showed a smile on his face, looked at Longjiao City under his feet and the sky above his head, and said to himself, "The weather is good today." After saying that, Xiaopinggan flew directly towards Iron Sword Peak. A moment later, Xiaopinggan arrived at the entrance of Iron Sword Peak and was immediately recognized by many people. There was quite a commotion near the entrance of Iron Sword Peak. Many summoners flew away when they discovered the situation here. I came over and wanted to see people up close. There were also many summoners who were originally having a party on Iron Sword Peak. When they discovered that Xiaopinggan was back, they couldn't help but come over to take a look. All of a sudden, a lot of people gathered at the entrance of Taijianfeng, crowding the entrance of Taijianfeng. Ah, the little crazy god is here. It seems that the little mad god has recovered and left the Diff family's flying boat. Just now I was wondering how the Diff family's flying boat disappeared in the blink of an eye. I didn't expect that the descendant of the mad god would marry the Diff family and become the son-in-law of the Diff family. It's really unexpected. This is a strong alliance. If you are a god's son and you can even compete with the top 10 god's sons, there will probably be a family of gods who want to marry you. For a time, Xiaopinggan was surrounded by such discussions. The eyes looking at Xiaopinggan were filled with awe, admiration, and envy. Little crazy god. When Xiaopinggan heard this nickname, his head was a little confused, and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He didn't expect that in just a few days, the summoner in Longjiao City had already given himself such a name. Of course, one can also see one's current reputation from this name. It is not easy for a summoner to have a name. Summoners with names are all strong and outstanding among summoners, such as Styx True Lord, Old Man Ironsword and so on. This is the real celebrity treatment. If before, everyone's awe and curiosity towards Xiaopinggan was just because of his identity as the son of God and his aura as a descendant of the mad god, then now, everyone's awe and curiosity towards Xiaopinggan is more. It comes from the awe-inspiring strength that Xiaopinggan showed after the battle with Delong. The battle at Conjunction was the battle that made Xiaopinggan famous. Everyone, after this battle, Xiaopinggan's reputation has been on the same level as the top 10 sons of gods. It is natural for him to be noticed. Seeing that there were so many people gathered around, even the entrance to Iron Sword Peak was blocked, and they all looked like giant pandas. Xiaopinggan quickly raised his hands to the surroundings and said loudly, "I have recovered now. Thank you all for these days. My concern, please give way to my friends, I want to return to the cave." Xiaopinggan did not expect that as soon as he opened his mouth, many people around him would become excited. Ah, the little crazy god actually talked to us. And I said, "Please. You are so graceful and not arrogant at all." This is the magnanimity of a son from a divine family. His family background is profound. Look, the little crazy god's face and eyes look more and more interesting the more you look at him. He is a man, but also profound. If he gives birth to a child, he will definitely look like him. Maybe that child will have divine bones in his body and will also be the son of God. Several women. The summoner looked at Xiaopinggan and felt a little bit crazy. When did I have so many advantages? Xiaopinggan touched his somewhat scary face and thought to himself. Fortunately, a voice appeared in time and rescued Xiaopinggan. Ha ha ha, it turns out that Mr. Mei is back. I made tea at the top of the peak, and asked Mr. May to show his favor and have tea together. Old man Taijian's voice came from the top of Taijian Peak. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 670. On the top of Iron Sword Peak, above the sea of clouds, in the pavilion, Old Man Iron Sword's small red clay stove was leisurely brewing tea. The aroma of tea, along with the steaming breath, floats in the pavilion. Several exotic orchids planted on the top of the peak exude a delicate fragrance. Drinking tea in this place can really make people feel relieved. My body and mind were completely relaxed. Xiaoping'an took a sip of Old Man Taijian's tea, and felt the lingering fragrance in his mouth. His 5 internal organs were harmonized and his spiritual consciousness was awakened. He couldn't help but praise, "Good tea." This tea is called Divine Dew. It is produced from the top of Shura Peak. That Shura Peak is located in Xuanhuan insect nest. The tea produced in a year is only more than 20 kilograms. The year before last, I went to Xuanhuan insect nest and picked a few kilograms. The Old Man Iron Sword explained. Is it dangerous to pick this tea? In the Abyss insect nest, summoners from the 8 Sun realm will never come back. Even those from the 9 Sun realm may not be able to escape unscathed. Thanks to my seniors, I didn't expect to be able to drink such a treasure here today. By the way, has the Black Dragon sect master left? After you competed with DeLong that day, the Black Dragon sect master left with his disciples. Hearing what Old Man Taijian said, Xiaoping'an felt a little regretful. He and Hua Xian were also considered friends. They had traveled to the land of the gods and fallen together that day, and they were quite attached to each other. Unexpectedly, they didn't know each other when they met this time. The person didn't even have a chance to say a word, he just passed by. No way, this is the price of transformation. Old Man Taijian drank tea and told Xiaoping'an with a smile, just 5 days ago, Tianji Hall selected the new top 10 sons of gods. This time, Mr. May has been listed by Tianji Hall as a descendant of the Mad God. As one of the 10 great sons of God, Mr. May has truly become famous all over the world in one battle this time. Congratulations! Top 10 sons of God. I'm on the list, but who does it push down? Xiaoping'an asked curiously. The title of the top 10 sons of God is the icing on the cake for Xiaoping'an, but if he accidentally squeezes someone else down, then you might even become enemies with someone, so of course you have to ask clearly. Old Man Taijian's eyes were fixed on the sea of clouds, and he breathed out with some emotion. Mr. May did not squeeze anyone out, but Tianji Hall received news confirmation that one of the top 10 divine sons, the divine son of the Ho family of the divine descendant family, Ho Lin, fell in the god realm of the heavens, so one of the 10 sons of gods was vacant. You and DeLong just ended up in a tie, so Tianji Hall added you to the top 10 sons of gods. Xiaoping'an was dumbfounded and didn't know what to say. Sometimes the world of summoners is so cruel. New stars are constantly emerging, but strong ones are also constantly falling. Like the tide of a river, it is so powerful that no one knows when they will be photographed on the beach, or submerged in the sand and dust, and suddenly appear. The Old Man Iron Sword shook his head. It's a pity. Ho Lin is a top figure among the 10 sons of gods. I met him once 30 years ago. At that time, he was already in the 9 Suns realm and was only one step away from being a demigod. His cultivation level is far above mine, and he is ready to attack the realm of demigods. He is the most promising son of the Ho family to advance to demigods in the past 800 years. I didn't expect that he would fall into the realm of gods. I know that this news is also very important. Shocked, the Ho family has suffered huge losses this time, and it has been very painful. Where is the realm of the gods that can actually allow such a son of God to perish? Xiaoping'an finally asked. The divine realm of the heavens is the place where all summoners who want to become demigods must go in the end, because that place contains the most critical avenue of divine fire for summoners to become demigods. Summoners in the 10-sun realm, after bathing in the demigod spring, is equivalent to stepping into the threshold of demigods with one foot. If you want to step in with the other foot and truly become a demigod, you must integrate the divine fire of the Great Avenue. Some middle and low-level summoners always think that they have bathed in the divine spring of the Ten-Yang realm. He is a demigod. Such a strong demigod is only a quasi-demigod. In fact, he is still one step away from a true demigod. The great divine fire, Xiaopinggan said to himself, feeling as if he had seen another peak that needed to be climbed. Damn it, he almost sold himself for the divine spring of the Seven Suns realm. He didn't expect to advance to the demigod realm later. The resources are becoming increasingly rare. The place where the top figures among the 10 sons of gods can fall is extremely dangerous if you think about it. And this is just a hurdle on his way. After being a demigod, the most difficult level is in the end. Many demigods are stuck at this last level, unable to complete this most critical step. Only after becoming gods can they completely destroy the Tower of Darkness, complete their mission, and completely liberate the Earth from the terrorist threat. Come out. It's really a long road ahead. Senior, is the realm of the gods an extremely dangerous place? Of course, it is not easy for any summoner who can enter the realm of the gods and merge with the divine fire of the avenue and finally successfully advance to the level of demigod. Then what is the key to a demigod becoming a god in the end? Why are so many demigods stuck at this level? Old man Taijian smiled bitterly and spread his hands. I'm afraid we can only explore this issue after Mr. May reaches the realm of demigods. It's enough for me to be able to advance to demigods in my life. With such a beautiful scenery in such a beautiful time, the two of us can do it together here. Let's use this tea to relax our mind first. By the way, you can also eat this tea. If you put one leaf in your mouth, you won't be hungry for 3 months, and your mouth will be sweet for 100 days. Come, 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 have tea, have tea. After finishing tea with old man Taijian, Xiaopinggan returned to his Yuhang cave. This tea is just as old man Taijian said. After eating it, I won't be hungry for 3 months and my mouth will be sweet after 100 days. Xiaopinggan, who returned to the cave, spent another 3 or 4 months of rare peaceful days in the next few days. In Longjiao City in the past winter, everything began to revive, full of vitality, and the earth was once again covered in green. In the past 3 or 4 months, Xiaopingyan visited the secret streets or auction houses of Longjiao City every few days, buying or exchanging resources for some rare world beads to improve his strength. After Xiaopingyan successively integrated more than 10 rare world beads, the upper limit of Xiaopingyan's secret mandala has reached 9,981 points, which is only one step away from 10,000 points. As Xiaopingyan fuses more rare world beads, it becomes more and more difficult for him to find new rare world beads in Longjiao City. Especially in the past month, Xiaopingyan has been in Longjiao City's secret streets and in the auction house. The speed of discovering new rare world beads has slowed down significantly. Sometimes, even if you go to the secret street several times, you may not be able to find another rare world bead. If they are not really short of money or want to exchange precious materials, the average summoner will collect some special rare world beads or find familiar channels to sell them, and will not rush to find strangers to cash them out. In addition to collecting fusion world beads, Xiaopingyan spent the past few months drinking tea and chatting with old man Taijian when he had time. Most of the other time, he stayed in the cave to worship and fuse the gods in his body. This little life is rare and comfortable. Old man Taijian has been studying the art of formations, and Xiaopingyan happened to be proficient in formations. After going back and forth like this, Xiaopingyan and old man Taijian formed a close friendship, which was quite opportunistic. Because he had the ability to mobilize the power of the 5 elements after refining his hands and merging the body of the gods, Xiaopingyan wanted to see what special abilities he could bring to himself after refining and merging his feet with the body of the gods. The result surprised Xiaopinghan. In the past few months, he had only refined and fused the two toe bones on the sole of his right foot with the divine body in his body. The changes brought about by those two toe bones made Xiaopinghan discover that his flying ability increased with the refining of the toe bones. Xiaopinghan was greatly excited that his transformation was actually improving and he could fly at a faster speed. This is only the effect after refining two toe bones. I wonder if it would be even more amazing if all 52 foot bones of both feet were refined and fused. But Xiaopinghan's peaceful life in Longjiao City did not last long, and was broken by a sudden news. Something happened to Xu Longzi.